Hello and welcome to a brand new series with me, FoxyNoTail, here in the beta version of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. The idea for this series is for us to find out all about the new features and exciting additions to the latest version of Minecraft, which is 1.17, otherwise known as the Caves and Cliffs update. There's a lot of stuff being jam-packed into Minecraft, and I want to cover as much of it as possible, not only just in creative mode like we are now, but also in survival, and also looking at some of the fixes to existing bugs that have happened in the game, and the addition of some new bugs that have appeared in these betas. And that's right, he says with my very glitchy crouching. I said beta and not beta. Let's get this out of the way before we start. I have my phone here with Google Assistant, who is going to help confirm how to pronounce this word. Okay Google, how do you pronounce beta?
That's pronounced beta.
And just in case you think that's me throwing her off by saying it that way, let's try this again. How do you pronounce beta?
That's pronounced beta.
So there we go. Google says it's beta. Now, I am in the UK. I've got the UK version of Google, so maybe that's a UK thing. But if you think it's beta and not beta, that's absolutely fine. We don't need to worry about that. It's just a word and completely insignificant. And from words to worlds, we have a very specific world we are on here, or at least I should say a very specific seed. If you are into speedrunning and have watched any of the speedrunners, you may recognize this world. It is in fact the seed that was used by the world record holder for the fastest glitchless run on Minecraft Bedrock Edition, which took place on the 25th of December by somebody called BattleCats59. They managed to get the world record of a glitchless run in 3 minutes and 51 seconds, which is absolutely ridiculous, and they used this seed here. So why are we using this seed? Well, mainly because it should have everything nearby that we need in order to basically discover all of the stuff going on inside of the features without us having to travel miles and miles away. So why am I here with my alt account? What is he doing here? Well, he's not actually here. I'm there, if that makes sense. He's actually hosting the world, and the reason he's hosting it is we're actually playing through a VPN. One of the biggest issues with testing the beta edition of Minecraft is the fact that it's very difficult to test it on multiplayer, particularly multiplayer as it's played on things like realms and servers when you get a reasonable amount of lag. So what we've done is set up the world on Chuck's computer, which is literally next to my computer, so they're very close, but we're routing his internet connection via America. So it's going out of his computer all the way to America and all the way back again to my computer using a VPN service so that we can experience lag. You can see here as I'm breaking these blocks, there is a little bit of a delay before they break. I think it's really important that we play as this game is intended to be played so that we can uncover some bugs as we go along. And you may be able to see from the items in my hotbar that we have a planned format for these episodes. Now, it might not always be the same, but my idea is that we are going to first of all experience one of the new features from the update, and then we're going to do some survival Minecraft to basically do a little bit of quality control. We're also going to look at certain things that have been fixed in the beta versions, and we are going to look at some of the things that have broken in the beta versions, such as signs. Yeah, signs just, oh, they just break your game. Oh, mate. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first feature that's coming in the Caves and Cliffs update that we're going to look at is goats. And there we go. We've just seen some spawning right in front of us. We are in an Extreme Hills biome, which is their temporary home in the vanilla version of the game right now. These guys are locked behind experimental features at the moment, and they are in the betas and stable release, I believe, and they will spawn in the mountain areas. As you saw from that poor pig then, the goats have a little bit of a mischievous nature. They will ping you off the mountains, they will ram you, and they will try and knock you about. If we go into survival, we'll see they don't necessarily do this straight away. It does seem to be a little bit random when they decide they're going to ram you, and their actual ramming of you doesn't do a great deal of damage. There we go. You can see there we took half a heart of damage, but we went a very long way. Now, give me those spawn eggs, mate. I need them to prove me next point. If we click on this goat, we will get a baby with the spawn egg, hopefully. If that's... Come on. Oh, it doesn't... Maybe that doesn't work anymore. All right. Let's make a baby the old-fashioned way. Okay, I have gone and filled my buckets up with many different types of foods, and I've already done a reasonable amount of testing with this, and I know that the goats will be bred with wheat. I've tried all of these other different foods with them, and they won't accept any of them, but breeding them with wheat will result in one baby. Now, it used to give you a whole bunch of babies. They only give you one at once now, which I think is probably a blessing, so that we don't end up filling up Mobcat with millions of goats. And yeah, like I say, the rest of these foods don't do anything. However, I have just given myself a bunch of foods I haven't already tested. Let's see if the goats will accept any of these things. It doesn't look like they will. It does look like they'll only accept wheat. Now, I have also tried hay, because you can breed, obviously, llamas and I think horses with hay, but no, it is literally just wheat, and they will follow you if you're holding wheat as well, like most animals in Minecraft will. And I believe if you click on the baby often enough or regularly enough, there you go, they will grow by feeding them wheat as well. Now, the point I was trying to get to, and hopefully we might see it in action, is that the baby goats, wow, they've just flinged their own baby off the cliff. Oh, geez, I was going to say the babies, yeah, they're, whoa! Dear me. Gee whiz. Well, all I can say there is oof. Yeah, the baby goats don't have quite so much power as the adult goats, and the adult goats' rams is actually based on their momentum. The speed that they will fire you off the cliff is based on momentum. And the next thing we're going to talk about is their jumping, which they're demonstrating very nicely for us right now. Now again, I have been doing some testing, and that testing involves how high will a goat jump. Now, I already know the answer, but we're going to go through it on video anyway for your benefit. They will obviously jump over a 1 high fence. And now we have a 6 high fence, which you will have just seen that a goat has successfully jumped out of, and they jump significantly higher than the 6 fences. However, raising this fence up just by 1 to 7, even though they can clearly jump higher than that, they won't decide that they can jump out of a 7 high fence. If we hang about and wait for a few minutes, you'll see that although they can jump higher than that physically, they won't decide to go out of a 7 high fence. So it is possible to pen these things in without putting a roof on it, although that fence does look a little bit ridiculous. So one interesting feature of goats is that if they ram into a tree, they will drop a goat horn, but it is very difficult to get them to ram into a tree because, yeah, they don't generally just tend to aim at trees. They're generally aiming at other entities and players. Wow, geez, thanks guys. So my thoughts here is it possible to make these goat horns farmable? And I think it may well be. With something maybe like this, perhaps you could put another entity that they'll ram into inside a minecart, such as a rabbit or a llama or something, and have that going round the track in front of some wood. Now, at some point in the future, those goats may well decide they're going to try and ram me, but I've been doing this for quite some time and fiddling with it and had no luck at this particular moment. But you never know, as soon as I stop recording, you'll probably find that it will happen and something will drop a goat horn. The other things that these goats will drop is, of course, a food source. If we chop them to bits like that, they do drop raw mutton, just like sheep do. But the babies will not drop anything. And now I'm unfortunately going to do a test here. Come here, you wily little scamp. Yeah, absolutely nothing. No XP and no food from the babies, just like all of the other mobs. But what's the goat horn useful for, you may be asking? Well, if we hop into the creative menu and we hover over our goat horn, you can see it is listed as equipment. If we go to the equipment tab here, you will then see that for some reason it doesn't list equipment anymore. I noticed this earlier today. I don't know if that's a bug or if it's intentional, but you lose the category when you're actually selected on any of the categories in this menu. If you go to the search, the normal one, it will tell you what category it is, but as soon as you go over a category, that disappears. Anyway, it's in the equipment, which means it is a tool or an item that can be used, and of course it absolutely can. If we right click it while it is in our hands, you will see we get an eating animation and the most horrible sound in the world. Yes, the raid noise. It plays the raid noise. Now in first person, we can use it, but there's no animation for some reason in first person. Now, it's all well and good being able to blow it and make a noise, but does that actually do anything? Well, I brought myself over to a village where there are some villagers and an iron golem, and I've been tooting my horn at them all morning, and it has absolutely no effect whatsoever, which I find very strange. So I guess what we should probably do is maybe give ourselves bad omen, trigger ourselves a raid, and and apparently the wandering trader has just turned up as well. But yeah, maybe the raid horn will help us in the raid somehow. Now I'm clicking it. The raid has just about started. There we go, the raid started. Will it protect us? Will we be considered one of the pillagers now that we are tooting our horns during the raid? Oh, here we go. We got a pillager. Are we safe? I'm tooting my horn, Mr. Pillager. Do you consider me part of the... No, they don't consider me part of the raid party. And the Iron Golem there looks very much broken while he's trying to attack that mob that is above him. Uh-oh, and now we're dead. Yeah, the Iron Golem not having a very good time there at all whilst that Pillager is inside of that glitched water. Very, very strange things going on here. Maybe that's a bug. So goats then, I guess there's not all that much to them at this particular moment in time. We know that if we kill them we'll get mutton, we know that we can breed them with wheat, and we know that they will drop a goat horn if they ram a tree, and we know that those goat horns won't stack and that you can use them to make an awful noise, but other than that don't really do anything right now. Maybe they'll add some more features in the future. We also know that goats take reduced fall damage and they spawn in the mountain or the extreme hills biomes right now, but that is just a temporary location. In the next update when we have brand new mountain biomes, I believe that is where the goats are likely to be having their permanent home. And I just have one last note to point out with goats before we go into doing our little survival test, and that is when we put a lead on them, the lead positioning doesn't quite look right. Now, there have been some fixes according to the changelog when it comes to goats following you on a lead, but the position of that lead is all kinds of wrong. It's not right at all. So for the next part of the video, we are going to do some survival testing. We've loaded up exactly the same world, exactly the same seed, with exactly the same setup, except for this time, I'm in survival only. There is no creative mode. Chuck is in creative mode just to stop him getting beaten up by mobs and phantoms, and we're going to test how this world works in survival. So I've set my timer for 1 hour. I'm going to play for 1 hour in complete survival, as if I was starting a brand new world, and see how we get on. Now, I've already come across one bug while I've been doing all of these testings. Well, in fact, I've come across two. One we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But the one I'm finding most difficult to put up with at the moment is crouching. You might be able to see, as I hit the shift key, sometimes like that, I pop down straight away. But sometimes there's this bounce to it, which is kind of strange. Well, there's the first problem. Is that new, that you can just shift? Oh, jeez. Didn't mean to do that. I just made myself a million pickaxes. Oh, great. It's going well, isn't it? No, it's not going well at all. You're going to blame that on a bug, are you? The fact that you're incapable of making the right quantity of No, it's not a bug. It's me being an idiot. I know. Shut up. It's fine. Well, I'm in the midst of digging myself a little mine. I've got myself some stone tools and plenty of cobblestone, but I've got no torches and no food. Now, I'm playing on normal mode. I'm not playing on hard mode, which is one good thing, I guess, but I could really do with some food. So, I'm right next to an abandoned village here, which technically could be full of zombie villagers, but I don't think it will, because they should have all burnt up during the day. I'm going to make a little bit of charcoal with that wood that I've got there, and while that's smelting, fortunately Chuck is there loading those chunks for me. I'm going to go and see if there is any loot available for me to get at this place. We've already got ourselves a, what's it called? Potion brewing stand, which is ideal, but I'm not after that right now. I'm after chests. Food, ideally. Oh, and there are zombie villagers in here inside of cobwebs. This is very interesting. Oh, look, and beds. Free bed. I'll take that. We're going to need one for Chuck as well. That's amazing. But yeah, I suppose we could actually set up camp inside of one of... Oh, look, food. Yeah, inside of one of these houses. But I kind of want to go through the process of a normal survival sort of let's play, really, of building a little house and stuff like that. So the whole point of this survival exercise is to make sure that there aren't any sort of noticeable issues with survival gameplay in these betas. Oh, look, we got ourselves a free stone cutter here as well. Well, this is good. This is good news. Found ourselves a smoker. This is good news. We got many, many items. Oh, now we're stuck in many, many cobwebs. Oh, jeez. Now, I was going to say, I'm going to assume this village is over a stronghold because it is a speedrunning seed, and of course, they would like to get to the end as quickly as possible to take on the Ender Dragon. And, oh dear, we've got... Oh, jeez, we're going to die. Got an Enderman against us. Ah, let me in. No, no Enderman. No. No Enderman. Oh, jeez. No skeletons. No Enderman, please. Yeah, basically, oh, jeez. As I was saying, if we look down this ravine here, you can actually see the top of the stronghold at the very bottom of the ravine there. So, yes, it is absolutely everything we need right on our doorstep. So, we need to get back to Chuck, get in our beds, and get rid of this nighttime. Jeez. Okay, so after that little pillage, we managed to get ourselves quite a sizable amount of bread. There's absolutely tons more hay bales over there as well. And one of the other things we got is 3 iron ingots, which means I can already make myself an iron pickaxe and get myself back down this mine in order to try and grab as much iron and other useful things as possible, because we need to get ourselves equipped. Behold, as I shine my torch down here at y equals 17, I have found my first copper. Copper obviously now being part of World Generation on Bedrock Edition. Now, during the Minecon, they said that copper was not going to basically form in clumps like normal stuff. It's actually going to be more like, I don't know, I can't remember the exact word terminology they used to say how copper would generate in the world. But basically the idea is if you find one patch of copper, chances are you will find more copper around it, which almost like clusters, I guess, rather than clumps. So that's interesting. We found that. We will, of course, be featuring copper quite heavily in an upcoming episode. Well, I just found my first patch of diamonds, 5 here. This is the tunnel I've dug. I decided to come off at y equals 11, and they were right here. And I just want to point out that so far, so good. You know, we're doing this survival test. We are about 20 minutes in, and so far not having any issues at all, other than a little bit of lag, which is absolutely expected. And more copper here as well. It's not uncommon, this copper. I thought it would be quite rare, but it's actually not very rare at all. I'm finding it about as frequently as I'm finding iron at this particular moment in time, which may be subject to change, I guess, as the developmental features change and update over time. Bear in mind, when we're playing the beta, we're not actually playing a finished product. All of these things are subject to change and could be changed dramatically and wildly from what we can see right now. They could be completely different by the time they actually get out into the final release of Minecraft. I spy more diamonds over there. I need to get around the side of this lava lake. My worry here is that because the shift issue, where I'm bobbing up and down while I'm holding shift, I'm a little bit nervous that I'm going to fall off the edge of some of these blocks. So also with the lag I've got to make sure that the blocks I place don't disappear before or while I'm standing on them. So yeah, we've got to be very careful. Also looks a little bit like some of this gravel's very unstable. We don't want to be suffocating in blocks down here. We've got many goodnesses on us. We've got lots of lapis, bit of redstone, quite a lot of coal, and obviously a bunch of diamonds, copper, and iron. We definitely do not want to be losing those, and I think that's it for those diamonds. Not very many at all. Boo, boring. One thing I will note is that the items that are dropping from these blocks are very glitchy visually. If you watch as they drop, they tend to wobble in the air quite a lot before they actually hit the floor, which isn't a very good thing at all. It looks awful, and it's quite painful on your eyes actually watching or trying to focus on these things as they're actually falling. Once they hit the floor, they're fine, but when they're moving on the Y value, they're just all over the place. And I know that's probably to do with lag, but that's still, yeah, I think that probably needs addressing, really. It's not a major glitch. It's not going to stop you playing the game, but it's a nasty visual bug that I think really does need addressing. Well, I'm making my way back up the mine. Both of my pickaxes are broken, and I can see that it is nighttime, although it does look like it's actually coming through to morning. And I want to check... Oh, that drowns. You're holding the trident completely the wrong way around, sir. We have another bug confirmed. Trident's not holding the... Yeah, and not shooting me either with it. And now on fire. Yeah. You know, we're adding the bugs up today. So we've now got trident bug, crouch bug, items bobbing about bug, and the sign bug, which we're going to get to later. And he's still not trying to get me with that trident. I'm smelting my first copper. How's it going to go? Is it going to be epic? Totally epic, mate. My first time holding genuine vanilla copper ingot. Oh, it's very fancy looking. I'm excited. What can I do with it? Can you make copper nuggets? You cannot. But we will be able to craft copper blocks. This is very exciting. So while I'm waiting for this copper to smelt, let's have a look at one of the bugs that has been fixed in these betas. One of the bugs that stood out to me while I was reading through the patch logs in Minecraft Beta 1.16.210.58, which is the beta before the last one as we're recording today's video, is TNT Submerged in Water will once again launch players into survival mode. One thing to note on this description though is there is no bug report number, so I guess this is something they just decided internally to fix. And I may be wrong here, but I believe this fix from the description at least means that TNT Cannons should once again work. Now, I am technically in creative mode, so this is not going to work, but let's just test my little TNT launcher. It does work. The items should flow towards the middle, and they should shoot me up into the air. That 100% worked in creative mode, something that did not previously work until now. And now what I'm going to do is take the plunge, go into survival mode and see if this thing works in survival. So let's press that button. Let's go into third person. Let's see. Do we get shot up into the air? We do. And we took no damage. However, we did die when we hit the floor. But that is good news. TNT cannons and TNT launchers now working again in survival Minecraft. That's amazing. Now back to our little survival test. And there we go, my last bit of copper has smelted, which means altogether we have 21 pieces of copper. And if we take those to the stone cutter, they do absolutely nothing. But if we put them on the crafting table, we can make a lightning rod, which I don't really need one yet, although we do have fire spread on. So let's make one of those anyway, and let's make ourselves our first copper blocks. I'm very excited to see these actually in game, and I'm going to put one down near Chuck with the lightning rod on top of it, and we're going to see how quickly those turn into actual copper. In fact, let's put a bunch down together. They can be Chuck's little pile of copper, and we can see how quickly they will turn or basically oxidize over time, because they're always going to be loaded because they're next to Chuck. More diamonds! Don't mind if I do, thanks. The copper that I'm finding, it tends to be always in one block of it, and that's it. You don't really tend to find it clumped together very much, whereas the iron I'm finding comes in big veins. So you can see there I've got 32 pieces of iron, but only 3 pieces of copper. Each one of those pieces of copper was just on its own. I decided to dig in the direction where I knew the stronghold would be, but I think I was a little bit too low down for it. However, having just been digging up to get some of this coal, I now found myself inside the stronghold, which gives us more opportunity to find more things and get many items ready for this early part of our Let's Play. The only other problem with the stronghold is it's normally full of dangerous things like silverfish and whatnot, so we need to be a little bit careful here. Oh dear, we have some bad chaps. Whoa, oh jeez, many silverfish. This is not good. Oh jeez, and I am not equipped to deal with this right now. I may well die. Oh, and a skeleton with a bow of many power. Oof. I found myself a library. This is a very big stronghold, by the way. I'm not going to take any of these bookcases for now, because it will be useful to come back here with Silk Touch in order to get ourselves enough bookcases for an enchantment table. Having said that, if I was to tear these bookcases out how they are now, I would probably get enough books back to actually make an a decent amount of bookcases for an enchantment table, although I've got no supply of leather at the moment, so I would prefer to tear them down with Silk Touch. What I will do though is I'll go around and find all of the chests. What have we got here? Protection, Infinity, Silk Touch, very handy. Well, the hour is now up. I am back safely home with Chuck. I've emptied out the important things from my inventory, and you can see here we managed to get ourselves some decent books, loads and loads of stone, but most importantly we managed to get ourselves a whole bunch of diamonds, a whole bunch of coal and gold and iron and copper and all of the other good things. We've done actually very well for our first hour's worth of playing through in a survivor world, which we now need to move on to the very last section. And in fact, we don't even need to go into creative mode to demonstrate this last section. The last section is what new game-breaking bugs have appeared in the beta of these Minecraft versions. And the one I've found, which I actually found on the Mojang Jira, but I've already discovered it in-game a couple of times as well, is a sign bug. If we place a sign, the sign places absolutely fine, that's not a problem. But if we try to interact with that sign with our hand by clicking on it, we will crash our game. There we go, the game's crashed. I can't do anything on your screen, nothing has changed, but it's kicked us out of the game. Now that is just local to us. Chuck is still actually in the game. The game is still open, it's still running, so it is a local client-side crash, but it is a crash nonetheless, and it is all to do with having the experimental features toggled on. So let's test this without them. We're going to create a world, and we're going to call it Sign Test. We're going to go into creative. We might as well have a flat world so we're not having to muck about with anything, and let's just turn off mob spawning so that we're not dealing with loads of slimes in the flat world. And let's turn off multiplayer so we don't get loads of randoms joining in our game, and let's just start that world. First thing we're going to do is grab ourselves a sign. We're going to pop that sign down on the floor, and I'm going to click that sign, and I can click it. For some reason I can click it, but absolutely nothing happens. Now, why can we click it? Let's grab ourselves some dyes. In this latest beta, if you've got a sign with some text on, you can actually use different coloured dyes to change the colour of the text, which is absolutely wonderful. And if you've got the experimental features on, you can use the glow squid ink sac in order to make that glow in the dark, and then you can use the normal ink sac to make it go dark. That doesn't work unless you've got experimental features on. So this sign glitch is absolutely fine, but did you see what happened then? So there's a few issues with signs at the minute, because the glow squid is still technically in experimental features, but this sign text thing isn't. If we put some text on a sign, and then we use the red dye on that sign, it's not going to glow. But now if I click it without a glow squid, it actually glows in the dark. So the glowiness on the signs is already in the game, but you use your hand to do it. Now, if we then come out of this world, and we go to the world settings, and we turn on the experimental gameplay features so that we can have the glow squid, and then go back into that world, when we now try and interact with this sign, it just crashes the game. So, for whatever reason, the new glow squid features are broken. So back in the world with the experimental features on, I have another sign here. I'm going to make it red, and I'm going to use the glow ink sac. That works absolutely fine. We can use the glow ink sac, and then we can use the different coloured dyes, and we can use the normal ink sac to turn it off. It's only when we interact with our hand that it crashes the game. Now, there is already a bug report for this. I've put a link to it in the description below this video. Please do check it out. Please do upvote it. Let's get that fixed before we go into the game. We don't want to be crashing our games because we're clicking on signs. That wouldn't be very much fun. Anyway, that is enough from this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like this slightly different style of video. I want to do a bunch more of these covering all of the new features coming into the betas as they come in, and I can only do that with your guys' support. So make sure that you put a thumbs up on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it and if you enjoyed it. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.